then all that was really left to do was to refer the entire matter, before, whatever it is, 4-year history with all of the allegations that apparently you're about to lay out, refer everything to an outside agency, whether it be the Court of Law or the District Attorney's Office or whatever other entities we discussed. Just so you know, this entire matter and everything that I can think of associated with it, from the allegations which you're alluding to all of the various FOIL requests that we submitted to the town, are now all with an outside agency. They are with the Nassau County District Attorney's Office at my direction, and they are, of course, still in the courts with respect to the FOIL request. So you said something earlier, which, no, I'm almost done. You said something earlier which triggered what I wanted to say to you. You're not an attorney. You did litigate pro se, and you're certainly entitled to do that. But just, I want to be clear with you that all of the matters under discussion, and I mean every document we can find, have all been submitted to the outside agencies for an evaluation. So once and for all, we can resolve a 4-year record that is replete, and I mean replete, with countless conflicting allegations between yourself and the town of Oyster Bay and its various personnel. So all that is being worked on by those agencies, and with that in mind, you may want to, no pun intended, govern yourself accordingly, but I'll leave that up to you.
Oh, that's quite all right. I don't believe I've done anything wrong. Did you do any type of investigation, pass any type of judgment, or did you just send it off to the DA?
No, I just got done telling you, first of all, our record from you is replete with references that you copied the district attorney on many...
You're not answering my question. You're not answering my question. You're dancing around it. But did you do an investigation and send it to the DA, or did you just send the package to the DA?
Our record is replete with a number of indications by you that you forwarded all of these matters to the district attorney.
So what? Did you just answer yes or no? I'm sorry.
Don't talk to me in the language.
Going around it in circles.
Don't talk to me in the language of a prosecutor. Let me answer the question.
Go right
ahead. Right.
But you won't. You refuse to answer. That's why we're going back and forth.
Let me complete this. Let's see if it answers.
Okay, thank you.
So then we now have a stack of letters about this high, many of them copied to the district attorney, many of them addressed to us, all complaining about the same things. So what we did, and it's what I promised I would do for you when we met back in January, we took the whole Megillah, culled out the complaints that you made against the town, responded to those complaints, and gave it all to what I think is the gold standard in investigating matters of this nature, the Nassau County District Attorney's Office. That's exactly what we did.
Just so I'm clear, maybe I'm a little dense. You did not do an investigation and come to any conclusions.
No, what we did was Tom pulled together, Tom did an investigation, went through all the files, pulled together all of the documentation that was responsive to the complaint you made to the district attorney. I think we actually have a legal obligation to do that. Okay. I believe the district attorney would have, in fact, I can think of some incidents that I've learned through other townships, fortunately not here. I think the district attorney would have castigated us if we had matters of that nature referred to us complaining about us, and we didn't turn it over to the district attorney, whose job it is to investigate those complaints and find out whether or not there was any wrong with it. So that Mr. Sabelico submitted facts to the district attorney. When I reviewed that facts, it was clear to me that there was no wrongdoing.
But that wasn't...
Mr. Sabelico wasn't passing any judgment. He was just putting together a recitation of the facts so that the district attorney would have in front of it Robert Riff's complaints and the town of Oyster Bay's response thereto. Okay. By the way, getting back to what I was going to say before, we have completed our investigation in the town.
I'm sorry.
And all of our findings, and Mr. Sabelico, correct me if I'm wrong, all of our findings and all of our conclusions to the best we can determine from the record have been submitted to the district attorney. Am I correct?
Clear. When Mr. Sabelico...
I mean, hear what I said. We have a legal obligation to do that.
Just to let it clear, when Mr. Sabelico compiled these documents and went through and decided what he was going to send to the district attorney,
What was responsive?
which I have, that's your opinion, I have no idea what was sent to the district attorney, but there was no recommendation on any findings in regards to my complaint with that.
No.
No meaning, no recommendation.
No.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I thought that the town had an obligation to enforce its own codes and its own ethic rulings, its own ethic codes. I mean, you have a town code. I understand that some of the allegations I made, or everything was forwarded to the district attorney's office, but what I'm asking you is, did you do an investigation at the town level? Has the ethic, I mean, one of the subjects of my complaints, Mr. Genova, is on the Board of Ethics. I mean, I specifically asked the council members to notify the Board of Ethics about my complaints. I think that these are ethical concerns. So what I'm asking you is, I know that you're saying everything was passed on to the DA's office, but did the town come to any conclusions, do an investigation into possible violations of town codes, possible ethics violations, and come to any conclusion on my complaints on those?
The only thing I can say is, with respect to everything that's been done on the town's end, and actually Mr. Sabelico, Tom, tell me if I'm characterizing this wrong. I didn't see any wrongdoing on the part of any town personnel with regard to any matter involving Robert Ripp.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I thought that the town had an obligation to enforce its own codes and its own ethic rulings, its own ethic codes. I mean, you have a town code. I understand that some of the allegations I made, or everything was forwarded to the district attorney's office, but what I'm asking you is, did you do an investigation at the town level? Has the ethic, I mean, one of the subjects of my complaints, Mr. Genova, is on the Board of Ethics. I mean, I specifically asked the council members to notify the Board of Ethics about my complaints. I think that these are ethical concerns. So what I'm asking you is, I know that you're saying everything was passed on to the DA's office, but did the town come to any conclusions, do an investigation into possible violations of town codes, possible ethics violations, and come to any conclusion on my complaints on those?
The only thing I can say is, with respect to everything that's been done on the town's end, and actually Mr. Sabelico, Tom, tell me if I'm characterizing this wrong.
I didn't see any wrongdoing on the part of any town personnel with regard to any matter involving Robert Ripp. I think so. That a great deal of the evidence which you put forward, which you said supports your position, in fact doesn't support your position, and we actually arrived at very contrary conclusions. That's the one according to Robert Ripp. You're assuming that these are the facts, these are all the motivations, all these things happen.
You're right.
And the town doesn't agree with that. I had an open mind. I had an open mind that you might be right about some things, and you might not be right about some things. And when the inspection, when the investigation was done on the part of the town, that turned out to be true. You're not right about it. That's the one according to Robert Ripp. You're assuming that these are the facts, these are all the motivations, all these things happen.
You're right.
And the town doesn't agree with that. I had an open mind. I had an open mind that you might be right about some things, and you might not be right about some things. And when the inspection, when the investigation was done on the part of the town, that turned out to be true. You're not right about it. That Mr. Sabelico submitted facts to the district attorney. When I reviewed that facts, it was clear to me that there was no wrongdoing.
But that wasn't...
That Mr. Sabelico submitted facts to the district attorney. When I reviewed that facts, it was clear to me that there was no wrongdoing.
But that wasn't...